Today, we're going to talk about one of the most ambitious projects happening anywhere in the world right now, the complete transformation of Indian railways. This is about so much more than just new tracks. We're talking about a historic investment that's set to change how an entire country of over 1 billion people moves, works, and grows. So let's get into it.
And it all kicks off with this absolutely massive number. 2.93 lakh crore rupees. Now, that's the highest capital investment Indian Railways has ever seen. But it's not just a budget line item, it's a declaration really. A sign that the railways are about to become a central engine for India's economic future.
So how is all this going to play out? Here's our roadmap. We'll start with the money itself, this record-breaking investment. Then we'll get to the exciting part, the high-speed revolution. We'll see how the plan is to connect every corner of the country and how it's going to power the economy. And most importantly, we'll break down what it all means for you before looking at the grand vision ahead. Okay, first up, the investment. What does a huge national budget like this actually look like on the ground? Well, it means that individual states are seeing a historic surge in funding. We're talking about an unprecedented amount of money flowing into local projects, many of which have been just sitting on the drawing board for years. And this chart, wow, this really shows you the sheer scale of the change. We are not talking about small, incremental increases here. Just look at Gujarat. Its funding is up by 29 times compared to the average between 2009 and 2014. Not 29%, 29 times. For Delhi, it's a 28-fold increase. For Uttarakhand, 26 times. This is the kind of financial firepower that really makes a transformation possible. All right, on to section 2. So, where's all this money going? Well, one of the most exciting results is what's being called the high-speed revolution. This is where things get really interesting because it's about fundamentally changing how people travel between India's major cities, opening up all sorts of new possibilities. Just look at these new travel times. Journeys that used to eat up a whole day are being completely transformed. Mumbai to Pune in just 48 minutes. Think about that. You could practically commute. Chennai to Bengaluru in a little over an hour. Delhi to the historic city of Varanasi in under 4 hours. This is an absolute game changer for business, for tourism, for everything. But these high-speed lines are a lot more than just fast tracks. You have to think of them more like new arteries for the economy. For instance, the line stretching from Delhi all the way to West Bengal, it's being strategically designed to connect major religious sites, universities, and medical centers. The idea is to spark development all along the entire route, not just at the endpoints. So, we've talked about speed between the big cities, but what about the rest of the country? Well, that's our next section. This plan isn't just about the metros. It's about reaching into the most remote and challenging parts of India, from the Himalayas to the Northeast, and bringing them right into the fold. And what's really cool is that it's not a one-size-fits-all plan. Each region is getting a solution tailored to its needs. So up in the Himalayas, they're building all-weather lines to make sure places stay connected year-round, a huge boost for pilgrims and tourists. In the Northeast, a 40-kilometer underground corridor is in the works to guarantee access. Then you go down south, and they're creating a high-speed diamond to connect the huge tech hubs of Hyderabad, Bengaluru, and Chennai. It's a truly national plan. Now, for our fourth point. So far, we've talked a lot about people moving around. But what about, well, stuff? Everything we buy needs to get from a factory to a store, right? And that is the other, equally important half of this whole transformation, a massive upgrade to India's freight and logistics network. So you've really got this two-pronged strategy. For you, the passenger, it means faster trips, modern trains, and cleaner stations. But for the wider economy, the big win is on the freight side. We're talking about dedicated rail lines just for goods, which means products move faster and shipping costs go down for businesses. It's a win for personal travel and a win for economic efficiency. A key piece of this puzzle is something called a dedicated freight corridor, or DFC. It's pretty much what it sounds like, a high-speed highway just for cargo trains. Why is that such a big deal? Because it separates the slow, heavy goods trains from the faster passenger trains, so neither one holds the other up. A massive one is planned to run from Dankuni in the east all the way to Surat in the west, linking the country's industrial heartland with its major ports. And the ambition here is just staggering. The long-term goal is for the railways to handle 3,000 million tons of freight. Now that is a mind-boggling number. If they pull that off, it means fewer trucks clogging up the highways, lower carbon emissions, and it would truly cement the railways as the backbone of India's entire economy. Okay, so we've looked at the huge national plans, the economics, the freight corridors, but let's bring it all back home. What does this actually mean for you? The next time you go to book a train ticket, what's really going to change?
Well, the benefits should be pretty direct. First, and most obviously, your trips are going to be faster. More time for you. Second, travel will be safer thanks to modern signaling and major track upgrades. Third, the stations themselves are getting a facelift, becoming cleaner, more comfortable, and just easier to navigate. And finally, a big one, less overcrowding. More capacity means more trains and hopefully a little more elbow room. So, as we wrap things up, let's look at the vision ahead. Because, it's one thing to have these grand blueprints and amazing plans on paper. It's another thing entirely to actually build it all and make it a reality on the ground.
And this quote really hits the nail on the head. For any of this to work, everyone has to be pulling in the same direction. The central government and the state governments have to be in sync. It really frames this project as something more than just an infrastructure upgrade. It's a key part of a much bigger vision for a developed India. So when you add it all up, the record investment, the high-speed corridors, connecting the remotest regions, and powering the economy, it's clear something huge is underway. Which leaves us with one big, fascinating question to think about. Is India on track for a new golden age of rail? Well, only time will tell, but the journey has definitely begun.